Hello everyone, we are from HI 6027 Business Law and Corporation classes, and we are group 5. We got 4 members in our group.
The name is Zhou Kun Wang and Jia Wang and Yan Quan Yu.
And myself being He Tan He Fan, or I go by the name Grace as well. And today we're going to talk about the case, a very big law case in 2005 between ASIC and Citigroup. So let me brief you through the brief information about Citigroup. So the full name of Citigroup is Citi Global Markets Australia Proprietary Limited, or it's known as Citigroup, and it's one of the world's largest financial company and corporations. The company has been specialized for their financial services provided for Australian companies, for financial institutions and consumers, and the government as well over the last 30 years. And the group provided the latest series of products and services for over a million of its customers, including the household, corporation, and businesses. And just similar to other big banks, Citigroup also divided their business into two main sections, which is known as private side, where the bank actually provided their information, provided their advice to client based on what called sensitive information, which is information that not really accessible in the market, and the public side, which in charge of offering services that are based on the information that are available in the general market. And the system that they created being called a Chinese wall, which are basically the barrier where they actually built to protect the sensitive information flow between the private side and the public side. Being said that, it just basically means that people like employees from the public side do not have authorized to actually accessing the information that are being secured in the private side area. And here's the case where everything's happened. So being in the industry of financial services is a very complicated industry and very sensitive industry where it's dealing mainly with money. So therefore, the regulation on the industry of the financial services has been a complicated field of law that's contained in the Corporations Act. The case related to the role in which on which Citigroup played during giving their accessing to Toast Holding. To Toast Holding Pty Limited on the proposal for taking over Patrick Corporated Limited, and at the same time where the investment banking managing the project, Citigroup, like the other side of Citigroup, the equity trading was actually purchasing the share from Patrick Corporated by the business assets. So the situation appear where ASIC wanna jump in and investigate whether it's be insider claim that being responsible by Citigroup, or whether if Citigroup having a fiduciary relationship and cross interest between themselves and their client.
The issue is Citigroup has categorized their inner business into two sides, which are inviting private side employees and the public side employees. When private side employees service the photos, public sector's employees are starting purchase shares of Patrick. When the private sector employees recognize the news about the purchase, the trading intermediate stop pricing and selling what he bought in the morning the same day. The problem arises in conflicts of interest between the relationship of Citigroup and its client being Toll Holdings company and the Citigroup themselves. Based on the above factors, here are the issues that being questioned. Is there a breach of duty involved? If yes, why the duty is breached? analyze the document of accounts.
So, following is the rules that are applied in the case. So, for the first concern being conflict of interest, um, the main rule that being involved is Section 912A Corporation Act 2001. According to this section, the financial services provider had to provide an arrangement which that reflect the honest, the fairness, and without any conflict between the involved party, or I would say the business provider being Citigroup in this case, and its customer being Toast Holding in this case as well. The other rule that are involving is the insider trading. Under Section 1043A, Corporation Act 2001, the section states that insider must not trade in the financial product where they are in the possession of the inside information related to the product, or in the other word, being easier to understand, you must not trade the financial product when you know the insider information, because it's called unfair in the market where other people doesn't have access to the information that you have access in, and apply all that rule that I just stated before. Citigroup was considered to take responsible for its services provided to Toast Holding in two main area, which is conflict of interest and the insider trading claim. And the first one being conflict of interest.
Yeah. According to Section 912A Corporations Act 2001, there was possibly serious branch in Citigroup side by providing its service that lead to a conflict of interest between the company itself and its customer being Toll Holdings company. In this case, ASIC could have a blame on the Chinese wall system that protects their information flows within the company itself. However, the company in fact had involved in both trading Patrick's shares and advised another party, Toast, to purchase Patrick at the same period. At the end result, this situation would likely lead to Citigroup best interest out of their parties that were involved.
So based on what Sarah said, based on the existing case decision of the High Court, Judge Jacobson decided there was no breach in the Section 912 being conflict of interest between these three parties. The first indicates that first, the company has tried their best to provide the most honest and fair service to tolls. And second, the arrangement between these two parties were made to avoid the conflict of interest that might have occurred. So, as Citigroup has already established the system, as I mentioned before, calling Chinese wall, to restrict the information flow between these two sides, private side and public sides, it could be regarded as making substantial agreement to avoid a conflict of interest. And further to this, a senior manager of advisory firm belonging to Citigroup actually told the trader manager, the one who actually taking care of purchasing the sales between Citigroup and Patrick, that the company might face problem due to the trader's share, buying share from Patrick. And immediately the trader manager told the trader to stop buying the share, and they actually stopped buying the share right at the same day. So having said that, however, this side of the company do not really communicate to the other side. That could be considered that the trader do not know what Citigroup is advising to take over Patrick. So therefore, it could be seen that Citigroup itself had tried their best to service their client in their best interest in the most ethical way and fairness way that I can see from here. And the second issue being the insider trading.
Yeah. According to Section 1043A, Citigroup had access on inside information about Patrick, which resulted in the decision made for the equity investment division. This was due to the factor that public sector side which did not have access to the information in the private sector side. Otherwise, the toll-making acquisitions over Patrick based on sensitive information. This was providing that there was some level of conversation between employees in both sides within Citigroup, which was as known as first insider trading claim. Uh, in continuation of this, ASIC believed that Citigroup would fully aware of the situation because employees at the investment bank section would have the acknowledge of the possibility that Toll would take over Patrick based on the advice to Toll of Citibanks. Based on these ethics, uh, asserted that Citigroup had aware of the situation and still let their equities trading department purchase share from the Patrick. This was the Saxon Inside Trading Group claim from the ASIC. Therefore, ASIC family believed that there was a branch of this Saxon in this case.
Yeah, and in regard to the first claim, the company would only be accused when its employee who involved in the trade activity had been in the position where he or she can actually access to this level of information, which is the private information. And based on section 1041G, the knowledge of the employee only attributed to Citigroup when that person is clearly defined as an officer of the group. In this case, Citigroup had clearly stated that an employee was just at a normal position, or in the other word, was not really an officer of the company. And the court stated that in this case of the company, an officer would be someone in the position that they could have access to the insider information, or we would say that it's someone in the senior or higher level management level of the company. Therefore, Citigroup could not be accused for the first insider claim. In regard to the second claim under section 1043F, Citigroup built a Chinese wall system inside the company in order to protect the sensitive information within their internal departments. At the private side and the public side would not communicate with each other. So it's hardly saying that Citigroup was aware of the whole situation being cross interest between the two departments of the company. Based on this, Citigroup actually had its right to defend that all the arrangement regarding to this case between the two sides of the company, that they could not fully aware of the situation between the cross interest between the two. And regarding to the case, Citigroup actually do their best to advise in their best knowledge to advise their client in the best interest of both sides. For that reason, there is no breach in the insider trading being claimed by Citigroup. And having said that, there is a lot of impact from the case that we actually finalized in 2007 between ASICS and Citigroup to the operation of the company in Australia in general. I'll just briefly go through it by dividing it into two areas, which is for the financial service user and the financial service provider. The first one is for the company using the financial services. The retainer letter at face value offered by the provider should not be signed until all the arrangements being discussed and being satisfied by both parties. And the second one is inside by both party. The second one being the compliance. So having said that, all the confidential information is stated